And I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry. They'd say, 2024, sir, 2024. And tears are pouring down their eyes. I've never seen anything like the whole. So in one sense, it was beautiful because they get it. In another sense, it's nasty. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach me about that. That wasn't like in the cards.
About the arraignment part?
That wasn't. We didn't have a class on arraignment.
Again, Tucker Carlson, they didn't teach you about the consequences of your illegal action. Great point. It doesn't bother me at all that you're a clownish buffoon who commits totally needless own goals legally and makes it so much harder for us to stay in power. It doesn't bother me at all. I actually think it's really funny. But of course, the more important part of that clip is the claim that people were just bawling over having to arraign him. Yeah, produce the evidence. I'm not buying it. You couldn't even get into that building without the door hitting you in the face because no one would hold it. And some of you who might maybe have watched been following American politics for some time, this might sound sort of familiar to you. The idea that these big, strong figures in law enforcement and everything just immediately break down in tears whenever Trump is around. Others have noticed that he often speaks in such a fashion. Here is just a little bit of a fascinating, much longer mashup of these sorts of stories.
It happens every time.
A very, very powerful guy, big, strong guy.
He was a strong, tough guy.
Strong, tough cookie, big, strong guy. And he's crying with tears coming down in his face. Said, thank you, Mr. President, for saving our country. This happens all the time. Thank you, sir, for saving our country. And he was crying. And I'm telling you, he was crying. I don't think this guy cried when he was a baby. In fact, I looked at him and I said, I wouldn't want to fight these guys.
Well, they were strong, tough men and women. And half of them were crying.
A big, strong guy grabbed me. And he was almost crying. Half of them had tears coming down their face. Of the 9, 8 of them were crying.
They were crying. I mean, there were like 8 or 9 of them, and only one wasn't. And I said, what's your problem? And I don't cry.
Very tough, very strong, very powerful men. They were crying, actually. And they were crying with happiness.
One person came in and actually just broke down and started crying. There's something very special about this place.
And I won't tell you who, but the biggest, from the biggest companies. And they walk into the Oval Office and they start crying.
Everywhere, JR. It's just these big bikers, the military, law enforcement, corporations, everyone everywhere cannot stand near him for more than a few seconds without tears dripping from their eyes. Either he's a liar, or people love him more than I thought, or the dude has the worst gas problem in America. I don't know which it is. What do you think?
Tears definitely came from their eyes for some reason. We just can't figure it out. But what's odd is he never cared about the tears coming from migrant children's eyes when they were kept in those encampments at the border. He didn't care about the tears coming from victims or families of victims of mass violence. To this day, they don't give a damn about any of that. Don't care about the tears coming from the eyes of folks who've lost jobs and opportunities, and families died of COVID, as he talked about wacky ways of not doing anything about it. All this, he doesn't care about those tears. Those tears are for weak people. But the tears that come from his made up stories about how people showed so much fealty to him, those are the tears that he cares about, because that has to do with him. Oh, and by the way, it's obviously made up because it's the same damn story every time he tells it. Also, his biggest tell, and this is said so many times, everyone knows this, is they said, sir, what they said to me was, sir, because everyone just says to Donald Trump, hey, sir, some cop, as you're walking in to be arraigned, said, sir, I'm sorry. That's the way he said it. He says it just like Donald Trump says. Oh, I'm sorry, just like John Barron says it, who's not Donald Trump either. By the way, when he was in office, maybe it was while he was running, he showed how much he loves the way people bow down and retell these types of overblown stories to people like Kim Jong-un, because he likes the way that people respond. He goes, when he walked in the room, people showed their respect. That's what he wants. He said that, and this is him retelling those stories that looks like that.
I cannot imagine talking about myself in this way, even if it was true, like let alone if it wasn't true. It's just, it is so deeply sad, deeply sad. And he's telling this story to Tucker Carlson. Who knows it's not true?
Of course.
But Tucker Carlson has to pretend that it's true. He knows, he thinks he is so much smarter, so much better than Trump. But he's, No, I agree. They probably were all crying. I'm about to cry, actually, because of how sensible and wise you're being. That's his job. That's how. Look, I don't know what it's like to own multiple homes. I guess it must be great to justify treating yourself this way.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.